Hi, this is Matt Connors. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the screen capture software that I've been using and how you might want to build it to make this augmented reality piece. So the intent is that it would run on a page. So because of that, we probably want to, once we define how we're going to be capturing, then we want to put it into a page size or pretty much close to a page size. So there's a couple different pieces of software out there, and they're pretty cost effective. Snaps Pro is about 20 bucks. I've used that before. Works pretty well on a Mac. I don't know if you're on a Mac or PC. A lot of my friends who do this on the PC prefer Camtasia. That runs in both Mac or PC. I think all the way up to Lion on Mac. There's also Adobe Captivate, which is brand new from Adobe. And if you have the Creative Suite, or especially the Creative Suite 6, that comes with it. If you're doing the subscription program, it comes automatically. I've just been playing around with this, so I don't know it all that well. What I tend to use is iShowU, though I've used all the others. I like that just because of its simplicity, and I've had really good results with it. But you don't have to record any audio track like I'm doing here, so you would actually turn off any of the audio features, and I can show you what it looks like within the iShowU interface. But a lot of them are very similar to this. That you basically can control your screen size, your capture option. So I've captured the entire screen here, and I think I have it showing the mouse option, but you can totally turn that off. And actually, I would say it's a good idea to turn that off um, in this case. And I have it recording sound, yeah, and the video format is H.264. And I have the quality at a decent size, 1280 by 720. You don't have to go crazy on that, but I would probably say go higher rather than lower to be on the safe side. I'm not changing it here because I'm already recording a video. Um, but then I just wanted to show you, how you would map it in your actual space. So if that's, I'm going to turn that layer off for a second. I'm going to start a new file. So when you start a new file, I think I have a couple default sizes in here, but if your page size is 8 by 1075, you'd probably want to go a little bit bigger than that so you can place it. I mean, you know better than I do what the specs are for Milwaukee Magazine, but you go ahead and create that file. You still do want it to be the same resolution, like ready for press, so 300 dpi. We'll just then use that ratio to go ahead and map the file in. If anything, it would be good to have the file be a little big on the edges. So, if you're going to do something like, pull guides in, and I have to admit that I don't have my rulers on, but if you're going to pull guides in, then define that right off the bat, because we can then use those to crop outside of those. So I would say if you're going to place guides like that, place them a little outside where you normally would, so that we can make our own crops for the video just inside it, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. So if you were going to be creating something here, and the advantage is that I wouldn't speed up your process or frame rate or anything like that. Keep it at 30 frames per second. And if you were going to, be making some kind of content, I'm not going to make anything really good because I haven't really been playing too much with um, CS6. But obviously it's recording screen capture as we go, and I don't even know what I'm drawing here. Doesn't really matter. Probably some kind of robot like I normally would be. The longer the strokes, the better it's going to appear. And if you're using Illustrator, where you can draw paths, that makes sense too. And I would say try to do it in as fluid a take as possible. So, I don't even know what that robot is. I mean, eventually it's going to become a robot. World's worst robot. But it doesn't have to be Photoshop. It could be another program. So if you're using Illustrator, I don't know, or Sketchbook Pro or something like that, it would totally work within that as well. Um, don't worry about the final image, because what we'll do is we'll take the final image. Like, let's go back to that file that I had. So I'm in this file. If this is my final image, we would take something like this and then define the other characteristics by it. So, if I'm going to, sorry for a second, I'm going to create a new layer. And what I would say is crop it so that it's inside this space. And that was why I meant making those crop lines in there, because anything that exists outside, you moving around, creating layers, we don't want to see any of that. So if possible, make it just a little bit bigger, but not so big that we have to crop out all that extra space. Um, Try not to do something like have, I mean, you probably know how this works, but don't have something like this. You'd want to have it off screen or potentially up in the corner, because it's just really not going to work well. Or you could make paths ahead of time if you're going to make paths or selections and then fill in those areas. That's actually something I thought about if we were going to try and recreate this. But if I were going to make, a new layer, and even, think about whether you're going to be filling with, a color, or start with 50% gray. I don't know what the style is, or how you're working, but it might make sense because what I've seen, I end up doing a lot is if I'm doing something like this, I would start with maybe some kind of ink lines, and then if you're filling content, I mean these are just rough shapes obviously, but then having additional area. Well, I should have pulled that over. That's a good case where if we're going to create that new layer, I should drop it over to the side or have them made ahead of time so that we don't clip the frame.